The new Apple AirPods Pro, Gen 2 of arguably the most popular wireless earbuds available. Apple claims they're even better than before, but how are they better? What's new? What's been improved, and by how much? Most importantly, should you buy them? You've got questions, I've got answers. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Caleb Dennison, and this is my review of the second generation Apple AirPods Pro. I've been looking forward to these coming out for well over a year now. Why? Because for all of the excellent wireless earbuds and headphones I get to test, all of which spend at least some time in my backpack, the Apple AirPods Pro have assumed permanent residency in my bag. They go everywhere with me. So, a new and improved version of my go-to buds? Yes, please. So whether you already own AirPods Pro and an upgrade is a foregone conclusion, or you never jumped on the AirPods Pro bandwagon and you're wondering if the hype is real and if they're worth the premium price, or you just want to see if the AirPods Pro really are all that, I think you're gonna love this video. And if you do, let me know by slapping it with a like. Subscribe if you want to see more. Okay, let's dive in. So when I started in on this review, I told myself I was not going to constantly compare the new Gen 2 AirPods Pro to the Gen 1 version. Then, as I started testing them, I realized that was not only unavoidable, but probably the best way to talk about the new Gen 2 version. So let's start with the case. It is indistinguishable in size and shape from the OG, and although the scale says it's got a few more grams on it, I can't tell. What is meaningfully different is that you can now charge the AirPods Pro using an Apple Watch charger, and that's in addition to the Qi wireless charging and of course the lightning cable option. There's also a hole for a lanyard here, and Apple will gladly sell you one for 13 bucks. Sorry, you don't get one in the box. But my favorite part is the built-in speaker. Not only does it chime when you start charging the case or the buds, but it will help you find the case if you misplace it, which honestly, I've done more often than I'd like to admit. The case holds about the same amount of charge as before, but the second gen AirPods Pro buds themselves, I'm happy to report, do indeed last a little bit longer with ANC turned on. I got them to last for about 6 hours and 12 minutes before they died on me. The case will recharge them 4 more times, so you're looking at a little over 30 hours of use before you will have to charge the case. Now that's not industry-leading battery life, but I think it's plenty practical. Besides, I'm less fixated on that battery number than I am on the overall performance of the earbuds, which I'm about to dig into. Oh, one more thing about the case, it is now IPX4 rated, just like the AirPods themselves. In the box, you'll get one more size of ear tips for a total of 4 options, including the tips that come pre-installed. It's those extra small tips that personally I think matter most, but that's because I know someone who has a hard time finding in-ear buds that will work with their tiny ears. And the AirPods Pro are now perfect for them. To make sure you get the best seal, which I cannot stress enough is absolutely essential toward getting the best sound quality, the best passive noise isolation, and the best active noise canceling, Apple has built this trick little test into the AirPods Pro settings app. I tested it, and it actually works. The default ear tips have always worked best for me, but I tried them all, and the test let me know when I had a size too large or small for my ears, guiding me right back to the Goldilocks tips that were on the earbuds in the first place. Now, taking a closer look at the earbuds themselves, Apple has improved its in-use detector with skin detection, which is great because now they won't activate and waste battery if you stuff them in your pocket or handbag or whatever. It knows the difference between your jeans and your skin. Now, part of the redesign that Apple didn't mention during their announcement is that they work to improve wind noise abatement. There have been subtle changes in the stem here so that the microphones are less susceptible to wind interference in the first place. Then, of course, you have Apple wind noise reduction built into the H2 chip as well, which I'll get into momentarily. So with a quick refresh on some of the new stuff you can see, let's get to the stuff that really matters, right? That's call quality, ANC and transparency mode quality, and of course, sound quality. Let's start with call quality, and for that, I'm gonna step outside. Welcome to a bustling thoroughfare in downtown Portland, Oregon. This is a place where you might have buses going by, a light rail train honking its horn, fat boy motorcycles, and Subaru Imprezas with mufflers that aren't designed to muffle jack squat. And of course, you've got emergency vehicles and their sirens. Sounds that on their own are already kind of noisy, but when they all happen together can really cause some troubles. In fact, they're the source of many frustrated lost takes in our studio at times. Now, on their own, these sounds are already kind of annoying, but you don't want them bleeding through on a business call. If you're walking around, taking a business call, you don't want people necessarily aware that you're out and about on a busy city street. And the AirPods Pro do an exemplary job of just knocking that noise out. Now, the voice clarity itself isn't perfect. Even in a completely silent environment like our studio here, you can tell I'm on wireless headphones as opposed to speaking on my actual phone. But when it comes to call quality, short of using a wired microphone in a silent office, it just doesn't get much better than the AirPods Pro. And that was already true. Now with the second gen, it's just a little bit better. Background noises are squashed from a hush to a whisper. Okay, now to talk about noise canceling and transparency mode. So first off, it's called adaptive transparency mode now. And that adaptive part, I love it. So if you've seen my reviews of the original AirPods Pro or the AirPods Max, then you know I consider Apple's transparency mode to be the best in the business. I've described it as the next best thing to not having headphones on at all because it's pretty realistic. Well, now I actually feel like in some cases, adaptive transparency mode can sound better than real life. The adaptive part basically means that if a ridiculously loud noise happens while you're in transparency mode, then the AirPods Pro are gonna stomp down on that a little bit. They won't cancel it out or anything. I mean, if someone honks their car horn at you because they're about to cream you as you cut them off on your bike, then you need to hear that horn. What you don't need is for the sudden insanely loud car or truck horn to be amplified by your headphones, all but guaranteeing a heart attack from the scare. Apple's example of a jackhammer is probably better, but you get it, right? You can enjoy transparency mode without having extremely loud noises piped in and harshing your chill vibes. On the other end of the spectrum is noise canceling, which Apple somewhat dubiously claims is twice as effective as the original AirPods Pro. Does that mean that everything is twice as quiet? Are we talking about half the decibels of noise making it through, or that they can handle noises that are twice as loud? No. None of those things are true. Look, I'm no math wizard, but I know that Apple has many math wizards on staff, and I'm sure that it's on solid legal footing when it makes that claim. As much as I'd like to go on a rant here, let's not get hung up on that statistic though. The bottom line is that the new AirPods Pro have more effective noise canceling. But really, in what way is it more effective? Well, to be sure, Apple's claim that it more effectively cancels high frequency noise is absolutely true. I went to the coffee shop in my building where I can always count on boisterous baristas to make plenty of conversational noise, even if there's nobody else in the space. And sure enough, the second gen AirPods Pro quieted down people's voices more effectively. And this is without any music or podcast audio going, just ANC on its own. I also tested them with a white noise pattern playing on some speakers, and it was clear that more high frequencies were cut there as well. And for the ultimate test, I compared the AirPods Pro to the Sony WH-1000 XM5 over-ear headphones. And while I feel like the XM5 cut noise out slightly more than the AirPods Pro, I was really surprised at how close it was. I can't wait to take the AirPods Pro on a flight next week for the ultimate test. So I'll say this, the second gen AirPods Pro have better ANC, and I'd argue some of the best ANC out there, period. If you want to use them just to quiet the world down, they'll do that without the aid of music or any other audio. But once you start playing music, movies, or podcasts, that's it. The world around you is gone. In the world of earbuds, I think only the Bose QC2 can hold a candle to the AirPods Pro. Now let's talk about sound quality. And in order to make this meaningful for you, I need to take you through the experience I had testing and comparing. So I started out like I always do, listening to certain tracks I always use when testing audio gear. At first, just listening to the new AirPods Pro, then later going back and forth between the new second gen and the first gen. And I was having a tough time hearing the differences, but not because they weren't there to hear. I was getting distracted by how the differences in sound quality varied as I tried to get the volume, or technically the loudness, equalized between the two. See, it seemed like I needed to turn the Gen 1 up to match the volume of the Gen 2, but then I realized the Gen 1 were actually too loud when I did that. But when I was sure I had the overall volume as balanced as I could get it, I noticed that the Gen 2 seemed like they had a fuller, more even-tempered sound. And that's when I realized that it was actually Apple's adaptive EQ that was coming into play, and that it was working way better on the second gen AirPods Pro. When you're listening at lower volumes, the Gen 2 AirPods Pro sound full and well balanced. They almost don't seem as quiet, even at those lower levels, though the average decibel level was clearly brought down. And at higher volumes, the second gen hold together better. There's less distortion and better overall balance. Now, I don't know how much of the difference I'm hearing is due to the new driver, how much is due to the new amplification, and how much is the new H2 chip processing, and honestly, I don't care. The second gen AirPods Pro sound better. The overall bass response seems similar. It's got a little punch, a reasonable amount of depth, it's never bloated or flabby. The mid-range is open and uncolored, but it's the high frequencies especially that enjoy the most audible improvement. The transient response of cymbals and guitar strings, the overtones of brass instruments and acoustic piano, the organic sound of acoustic drums and percussion, all of it just sounds great. Like with the original AirPods Pro, I said they sounded more than good enough for most folks. But with the second gen AirPods Pro, I think they're worth taking a really close listen to. They definitely have their own sound signature, and I think it's one that most folks will love. Not just like, but actually love. People are gonna eat these up. No doubt, the AirPods Pro will be going where I go. They're staying in the bag. I mean, I use an iPhone, an Apple Watch, an iPad, and lately I've been using an Apple TV more often. Still haven't switched to Mac, don't know if that will ever happen, but the AirPods Pro make a lot of sense anyway since I use a fair number of Apple products. Thing is, the new AirPods Pro are more than just practical, they're a treat to use. The ANC is top-notch, the transparency mode can't be beat, the case is easy to find, they fit well, and they sound really good. Even if you aren't an Apple user, I think you have to admit these are just a remarkably solid set of earbuds. And if you are an Apple user, well, I say run, don't walk, and get yourself a set. You'll be thrilled you did. Thanks as always for watching, everyone. As earbuds go, what's your all-time favorite set? Let me know down in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and here's 2 other videos I think you might like.